Welcome to Debate Clash. We're dedicated to providing forensics resources to every student that needs it. If you want to learn, you should have the ability to. In this video, we'll be going over the basic structure of a public forum debate case. I will also be posting a public forum case template that you can find below this video. The first section of a case is the introduction. Just like with most essays that utilize the first sentence as the hook or attention grabber, the same rules apply to debate cases. Some people prefer to use famous quotes from authors or very brief stories that relate to the topic that you're debating. Anything that can be utilized to draw the attention of the audience in can be used as the introduction. The introduction is completely optional. If you get a judge that has previous debate experience, they may want you to jump right into your case and skip over the introduction. However, if you get a less experienced judge that maybe isn't taking notes, they may find it quite persuasive to have an introduction. If you have any questions on whether you should run an introduction or not, go ahead and ask your debate coach or teammates for help. The second section of your case is the resolution in stance. In this portion, all you need to do is clarify for the judge what resolution you're debating and the stance that you're taking on it. Most debaters simply say, "I," either affirm or negate the resolution, and then they read the resolution. It's fairly simple, and almost every debater does this the exact same way. The third section of your case are the definitions. This is where you will define certain words in the resolution. Generally, people say, "This word, defined by, insert source, means," and then they say the definition. Some teams prefer to define nearly every word in the resolution. Others prefer to define nothing. I tell students that there are three instances when definitions are necessary. The first instance is to clarify if you think that the judge doesn't know what a particular word or phrase in the resolution means. Now, the second instance is when you suspect a large debate or conflict to arise around a certain word or phrase. For example, if we have the resolution, "China is a bigger threat to the United States than Russia," we may want to define what a threat is, as that will likely be a large portion of the debate. The third instance is when you want to use a definition to swing the resolution in your favor. Using the resolution, "China is a bigger threat to the United States than Russia," we could define bigger threat to mean more destructive weapons. Then in our negative case, we could argue that Russia is a bigger threat because they have more nuclear weapons. Their weapons are more destructive. By defining the phrase bigger threat, I gave myself an inherent advantage. The next section of your case is the framework. The framework simply tells the judge how the winner of the round should be decided. An example framework would be, if the costs outweigh the benefits, then you should vote negative, or vice versa. This is one of the most common frameworks that you will see, and it is known as the cost-benefit analysis. Another framework example, utilizing our China versus Russia example, might say, if we as the negative can prove that Russia has more destructive weapons than China does, then you should vote for the negative team. The second portion of the framework is telling the judge why this is the best way to determine the winner. For our cost-benefit analysis example, we might say that this is the most fair way to measure the round. It gives neither the affirmative or the negative team an advantage. Therefore, we should utilize it to determine the winner. For the second example, we might say this framework should be preferred because the resolution asks us who the bigger threat is. Since bigger threat is defined as more destructive weapons, it makes logical sense to measure the round by who has the more destructive weapons. The next section of your case are the observations. Observations are completely optional. It's up to you if you want to run them or not. Observations are either important things that you want the judge to remember or assumptions that you make utilizing the resolution. Keep in mind that each observation is numbered in order to maximize organization. If the resolution that we are debating was standardized testing is beneficial to education in the United States, I could make an observation that said, Observation 1. Since the resolution specifies in the United States, Any arguments that talk about other countries or the international community should be disregarded. It's important to keep in mind that each observation should be helping your case and making it stronger instead of just taking up unnecessary time. The next section is the section that you've all been waiting for, the contentions. These are your arguments, the reasons to vote for you. I recommend having anywhere from 2 to 4 main contentions. This allows enough time for each argument to be established and to make sense to the judge, while at the same time is having arguments that you can fall back on if one goes down. Now, there are several different formats for contentions that you can use, but for the purposes of this introductory video, I'm going to be teaching you the most prominent format, known as claim, warrant, and impact. Under this format, a contention has 4 main traits, the first of which is the title. This is the label for your argument. You simply need the number of the contention that it is, along with a brief sentence describing the argument to come. For example, I might say, Contention 1, Russia has a lot of weapons. The second part of your contention is the claim. A claim is simply a statement that you believe to be true. For example, I might say, Russia has thousands of nuclear weapons. It's a statement that I believe to be true. Now, the claim doesn't mean very much until you add the next portion of your contention. The warrant is the reason your claim is true. This could be evidence, or in certain instances, very logical analysis. For example, I might cite the Arms Control Association in October 2015, which says that Russia has 7,700 nuclear warheads, whereas China only has 260. My warrant is the Arms Control Association, and it proves my claim that Russia has thousands of nuclear weapons to be true. The fourth section of a contention is the impact. The impact is the reason your argument matters. It tells the judge who is affected, what is affected, how badly are they affected. In this instance, I might say that the impact to Russia having thousands of nuclear weapons could be the possible destruction of the planet, or human extinction if I wanted to go that far. The last section of your public forum case is the conclusion. In the conclusion, you simply reiterate your points again, and then if you have an introduction, you tie it back into the conclusion. For example, we have presented 3 strong arguments, which were X, Y, and Z. If you agree with Stephen Hawking's quote and the arguments that we have presented, we urge you to vote for the affirmative. The conclusion is also very optional, but it's a great way to tie your case back together. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to share it, check out some of the other content that we've got at debateclash.com, or help support us by purchasing your evidence through our shop. Good luck with the debate case writing.